So I've been thinking on why we have to go through the storyline over and over again in order to level up a new character in PoE. In 2014, as you remember, we only had 3 acts, and it was not very difficult to run through them in a matter of a few hours. Now we have 10 acts and it takes much longer. But the time it takes to complete these acts is not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is its repetitiveness. Path of Exile is not very much about story, as it is about having fun removing thousands of monsters from existence in a variety of ways, using multitude of tools that game provides you with. If you only use one character for it, then in a short period of time you will get bored. This is why many people sometimes have up to 7 characters. In other cases, when you mess up your build and do not have currency to reset, you just start a new character. But every time you do this, you have to go through storyline again. There are no alternatives. You cannot pay to skip it. You cannot go farm experience in some specific location of your choosing. You have to go through storyline that never gives you any new experiences. It's the same every time. And yes, I understand that skill points are bound to story quests, but isn't there a way to somehow change it? Every 3 months, GGG releases new content, and I will never believe that separating skill points from story quests is harder than creating a new league mechanic from the scratch. There is simply no reason to not do this. Maybe this topic hasn't been raised very often, but I genuinely believe that this will benefit everyone. Right now, we are getting 1 point for our mapping tree for each complete map. So there is a mechanic in place that resembles the concept I described, right? And everyone is perfectly fine with getting 1 point for 1 map. Then why would it be somehow weird or bad to do the same thing with skill points? One can start getting skill points for each level they acquire. Some levels will provide us with 2 or 3 skill points. This way it won't be necessary to change monster level or any other aspect of the game. Just from the top of my head, after you choose your preferred class, you're provided with a choice to either play through the storyline or through free leveling. When a new league starts, sometimes I skip it not because I don't like its mechanics, but because I'm so very much repulsed by a mere thought that I have to complete 10 acts in order to start playing that I just cannot make myself double-click a game icon. Moreover, many people start misjudging the league after playing it for just a few hours and not seeing any significant rewards. There should be other ways to introduce a league mechanics other than those we currently have. Right now, league mechanics are being introduced to player throughout the 10 acts of storyline with its, leagues, lore and everything else. But in reality, we never had a league worth of 10 acts of explaining. They were all simple enough. You need 1 or maybe 2 example runs to understand how it works. Additionally, you can just read patch notes or watch YouTube videos that explains it in more details, like the way it was with Betrayal. And it's still the same topic. What I'm trying to say here is us skipping storyline will not magically remove game areas. You will still have a place to show us how a new league mechanic works. I do not want to have to waste a few days on 10 acts in order to get to the meat of the game. There is a poll, by the way, that shows that on average you need 30 hours to beat the storyline. But what if you cannot spend this much time on a game? What if you can only spend maybe like 4 hours a day? Then you would need like 8 days to complete it. And this is how it is with me. I do 1 act per day, sometimes maybe 2. You cannot expect that paying customer will be happily throwing money at you while you are making them go through this process every time they want to create a new character. Again, I'm not saying that you have to remove storyline. I'm saying that you need to give player a choice. Play storyline or not play storyline. There cannot be any possible arguments against choice. It's a basic thing that we all should have in any given game. I can name at least 10 games from the top of my head that lets you buy max level character. In PoE, we do not need that. We need a way to skip the most repulsive and repetitive thing it has for a long time player, the acts.